Hello, Adam Bazalgette here, founder of Scratch Golf Academy. Today we're going to have a look at Nick's golf swing. He's an amateur golfer, a member at Scratch Golf Academy, has sent it in. Just want to show you how I would break a swing down. Hopefully some of these cause and effect things and some of the drills will be helpful for a lot of you. So there's Nick, Justin Rose on the right. I know it says Koepka there, it's Justin Rose. A little bit too upright, I think. Justin's a fairly tall guy, 6'3", but I still think that Nick could bend forward a little more. And as we look at the posture from the front view, one of the things you'll notice here is, to me, Nick has significantly overdone this sense of tilting behind the ball. So Justin certainly has a little bit of tilt, but I would say without question, if we draw a line up from the ankles there, Nick is too far behind the golf ball, both with his hips and his upper body. And you'll see this carries into the backswing. We'll look at one other aspect of the backswing here in a minute. That camera's wobbling a bit. But if you look at Nick there, let's say, and you look at Justin is clearly a lot more centered or a lot nearer the target with his weight as he goes back. Let's look at one other feature of the takeaway and then we'll make a couple of points. And if we look at Nick from that view, we'll go to Justin back from this view. Nick tends to pick the club up, or he picks his left arm up. It separates from his body and he lifts it up. His turn's getting very flat there at that point. And you can see for Justin, he's pivoting a little bit more correctly there around his body. So he's not as lifted with his left arm. His forearms aren't as flat there as you look across them. But all told, a relatively good position. Lifts it up a bit here, then gets a little bit too far back behind the ball as he turns. So could be some cause for suspicion with the grip. Not sure. It looks like Justin can set the wrist a little bit better, but he's more centered. He's more bent over the ball. He sets his wrists a lot better at the top. Let's get outside and have a look for a moment. Now, I'm not suggesting for a moment that we would work on all of these things that are coming up in one lesson. I'm just laying it out. So for Nick, we're trying to get him a little bit more bent over like so. We check his left hand grip, make sure it's more in the fingers than he has mobility. And I would do some of these pivots more on a steep angle, arms this way, and start to get everything moving away like so, rather than picking it up and then getting the hands behind him. And most importantly, probably from here, okay, a little bit of tilt with the driver, but a lot less, and starting to feel that as he pivots, he's staying a lot more centered there on his backswing. Let's look at the downswing. So as a golf instructor, one of the things you're trying to guess at, educated guess hopefully, is what are people's instincts causing them to do? Everybody that I've ever met that's hit golf balls in their life finds some way to hit it and keep it reasonably straight. So as I see here with Nick, he's too far behind the ball. His wrists are a little bit rigid. They're not quite soft enough. So he needs to move back towards the target to hit it. And to me, there is significantly, this camera moves, but there's significantly too much drive this way of the upper body. He doesn't have a lot of angle in his wrist, so he's thrusting at the ball. And if you look at Justin, he makes a little bump with his hips. You see him bump there. He's already well more to his left than Nick is, but his head, save for an inch or two of movement, doesn't move forward. And look how his upper body, Justin's, has not nearly unwound as much as Nick's. So Nick has got the club behind him. He's got himself behind the ball, and he's thrusting this way to try to get at the golf ball and create some power. But it brings with it some problems. So as we look coming in, Justin's got a little more stored power. Justin is definitely more on his left side than Nick is. And you'll see that just too much thrust from the chest and body. Look at that. Now look at, say, Rose there. Once he's got this loaded, once his body's made that shift, his body has primarily done its job now. Now it's time to let the energy go to the club and crack like a whip. So if you look at Justin, he is not nearly as unwound as Nick is here. So Nick's expending too much energy. There's almost no wrist action, lots of body rotation, and the weight's hanging back, and he's just spinning his chest at the ball there. Let's have a look from the other view. And let's go with that one. And Nick right there. So pretty flat top of the backswing, which isn't necessarily bad versus Nick. But you'll see as Nick comes down, the club slots really nicely. As Justin comes down, Nick thrusts, and the club's in an okay spot there, but it starts to come over the top a bit at the bottom. Now it's slightly too far from the outside. And again, just pulling across the shot with all sorts of body movement, the left arm breaking down there. So things that I would want to see, I would want Nick to work on I like this little drill here. I'm making a few swings, no golf ball, and I'm really letting my wrists be soft and react to me. So a little bump of my weight, let the club load. That's a little exaggerated by design, so there's some stored energy there. If we go back to Nick from the face-on view, he's wasting his energy there. It's getting too wide, he's getting too open, he's not enough on his left side, and so this really hard to really pop the wrists. And for me, of course there's no golf ball there, I'm able to get a little more snap in the wrist there going through. I think another drill that might be good would probably be the stork drill. So right foot's pushed back. I'm basically on one leg. That makes it pretty difficult to turn my body too much through the ball. Just a little swing with a short iron, not a driver swing, and I'm able to feel with a little lag letting the club pop by me a little bit there without so much thrust and turn of the chest. Let's get outside and conclude and talk about some other stuff we might do with Nick. So in my experience, anytime you talk to an elite player, and I've been lucky enough to talk to a lot of them, and I say, what's your tendencies? They can all say in a few sentences, oh, I get too much of this, and when I do that, I do this too much, and then I get this or that. That's not the case with most people. They just cherry pick, I move, I'm too quick, whatever, pick your number, but they don't really see their pattern. So for me, when I look at Nick, probably the grip's immobilizing the wrist a little bit. He's a bit tall, he lifts it, he's certainly too far behind it. He gets himself so far over here, I'm exaggerating. His way of coping with that is to pull too hard and create all of his speed out of his body here with his weight hanging back. So the things we try to do, as we said, we try to get him more bent forward. This would be the order of things, obviously not in one session. Get the grip where he has mobility. Start to get his pivot a little steeper and more centered where he can break his wrists. Now the journey to his left side is such a much shorter one than from over here. He can start to work on a little bump, and at some point, if you picture a bowler bowling the ball, as I understand bowling, this sort of thing, I would start to get Nick to feel, let me go this way, some little practice swings where he actually slides his right foot back. In other words, once he's gone down that road of fixing the other things, can he transfer energy to the golf club more efficiently and start to create with a little bit more power and a little bit less effort? But he has to get more centered, build a few fundamentals before he does that. I hope this is helpful for you. Plan to do more of them. The ScratchGolfAcademy.com members are sending swings and we'll keep some coming to you. Thanks so much.